and I'm Associate Dean for Student Success in the Graduate School at the University of Maryland. And I'd like to welcome you to this, which is the fourth in our series of 4 workshops on financial literacy for graduate students. The idea is that it's important to learn tools for managing your finances when you're young, because that will greatly increase the probability that you become financially secure later in life. Today's speaker is Jemika Hansberry, who's a financial aid counselor at the University of Maryland, and she's going to talk today on how to manage repayment of student loan debt. Now, certainly this is an important topic. It's been in the news quite a bit lately, and I'm sure she'll have some very interesting advice to give you today. So without any further delay, let me introduce Ms. Hansberry.
Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Jemika. I work in the financial aid office here on campus. So I'm going to go over how to manage repayment of student loan debt. This is the agenda or the schedule of things we're going to talk about today. Budgeting, needs versus wants, knowing your cost of living, saving money, and then we're going to get into federal loans, capitalization, repayment options, how to pay off student loan debt. If you have trouble making payments, we're going to talk about that, loan forgiveness, and then some loan tips and some information about setting financial goals. The first thing to do is always to create a spending plan. So when you are deciding on a school, usually the financial aid package or what you're going to receive is a big step in deciding how you're going to pay for it and whether or not you can afford to come to school either as a grad student or as a undergraduate student. So a spending plan is just a step-by-step plan for meeting expenses in any given period of time. It helps reduce anxiety, gives you a sense of control, and helps you build assets for the future. To create a spending plan, you need to keep track of your daily spending, determine your monthly income and expenses, find ways to decrease spending, and find ways to increase your income. For budgeting, a budget can help you stretch your paycheck. You should build your budget on what you take home and not what you make. So if your salary is $50,000, that's not exactly how much you'll be taking home. After taxes and FICA and things like that are inputted into your paycheck. Be sure to factor in all expenses, fixed and variable ones. So your rent or your mortgage, that's a fixed expense, and things like utility bills, they can go up and down depending on the season, whether or not you're cooking a lot. So those are variable. Try to prioritize what's in your budget to see where you can make cuts. So if you have the largest cable package, maybe you can go to the minimal cable package to try to save money and make cuts where you need to in order to save money. We always recommend to keep track of your expenses and your balances in your checking or your savings accounts every month and streamline where you can. So again, if you're spending a lot on going out, maybe you can cut back on that. This is just an example of a budgeting worksheet. It lists your income on one side and then your expenses. If your income is more than your expenses, then you're fine. But if your expenses are more than your income, then cuts need to be made. So maybe you shouldn't drive as much. Maybe you shouldn't eat out as much, things like that. We recommend that you separate your needs from your wants. So in order to save money, you need to know the difference. So food, that's a need. A latte is a want, or a frappuccino, that's a want. Coffee may be a need for you to get up in the morning to get going, but gourmet coffee, Starbucks, that's not a need. Again, a cell phone, that may be a need, but games, music, apps, things like that, those are all wants. So when you're spending your money, you want to make sure that you think about what's really important and what has lasting value. So your education, that has lasting value, so that's a good thing. We also recommend that you plug everyday spending leaks. So if you have a costly habit like smoking or, again, buying expensive coffee drinks every morning, or you buy breakfast or you buy lunch every day, those things can be cut down. You can go maybe a couple days a week. Just depends on how much you're trying to save in order to save money. Try to make a shopping list and stick to it. Don't spend on impulse. If you get the paper, or you can go online to get coupons to save even more. Limit the number of songs that you download. So I think a song right now is between 99 cents and $1.29 or so. So you can limit that in order to save money. Try to attend free things on campus. We have a very good campus here. They have movies on campus, lectures, things like that you may be interested in. Matinees at your local movie theaters are usually half the price of what a nighttime movie would cost. And if you can check out, if you have a membership to a library, you can check out DVDs. So they have recent DVDs and older DVDs, but that's a good way to also save money instead of going to Netflix or purchasing a movie off of from your cable company. Know your cost of living. So we recommend that you make a mandatory list of monthly expenses, so rent, utilities, phone bill, groceries. Once you know how much, where your money is going, you can know how to budget and save, and you can see where you can cut back. Give yourself an allowance. We know that you need to have some fun in life, so entertainment, eating out, going to concerts, things like that. You should have fun in life. So give yourself an allowance. If you say you're going to, okay, $100 for this month, if you don't spend that $100 in the month of April, you don't have to use it all. And come May, if you have another $100, you don't have to spend $200. You can actually put money away. You can save it. You don't have to spend all of the money that you allotted for yourself. Avoid using credit cards for everyday expenses. And then get into the concept of, or to the habit of, saving and then splurging. So if you really want that new item, save up for it and then pay with it or buy it with cash. Most of the time you will see that if you don't buy it on impulse, you really don't want it later on. So, and the last part, I'm not sure if the links work here. Cost of living. So I know a lot, if you're an undergraduate or a graduate student, you will, most people, they don't stay in the area, or some people do, but most people, they have opportunities to move away from the DC area. And the DC area, the cost of living is very high. So if you got a job offer, say in North Carolina, that's the cost of living is a lot cheaper. So you want to make sure, like, if you get a job offer here, you get $100,000. Let's just be hopeful for your salary. And in North Carolina, you get $80,000. Usually, the cost of living in North Carolina would be a lot better for your salary than if you made $100,000 in the DC area. So this is a website that I recommend. I have a list of all the websites I'm going to be showing today. So if you don't get to copy them down, I do have a listing of all these. And then saving money. Get into the habit of saving. Learn to save a little bit at a time. We always recommend that you pay yourself first, which means putting away money into your savings account before you spend it on other things. Put away any tax refund, any raise, bonus, gift that you receive. Instead of spending it, put into your savings account and see that money grow over time. I recommend that you use cash instead of a credit card from day to day. For me, I usually use my credit card because you get points. So if you're doing it that way, that's fine. But if you're really trying to save money, I recommend that you use cash. Any extra change or loose change that you receive, put it into a jar. After a couple months or maybe even a month, you can see how much you would have in savings after a while. This is just a guideline to remember. 70% of your take-home pay, again, your take-home pay, not your salary, should go for living expenses. 20% should go to repay debt, and 10% should be to be used for savings for your future. And the website up there, it can give you an estimate. So again, if you make $50,000, that's not how much you would take home. Depending on your exemptions and your deductions from on your W-4 form, $36,000 is roughly how much you would make. So that's just a breakdown of living expenses, repayment of debt, and savings. Okay, so now we're going to get into the loan portion of the presentation. This is just a list of the federal loans that most students have out. The subsidized loan is a need-based loan. It's only offered to undergraduate students at the moment. The interest does not accrue while the student is enrolled in school. So if you go from undergraduate to graduate school, there's no interest on your loan while you're enrolled in school, at least half time. So 6 credits or more, there's no interest accruing on that loan. Right now, the current interest rate is 3.86%, and repayment for the subsidized loan, it starts 6 months after graduation, or if you enroll in less than 6 credits. The unsubsidized loan is the loan that all students receive once they complete a FAFSA. The interest does accrue on the loan. Right now, the interest rate for undergraduate students is 3.86. The interest rate for graduate students is 5.41. And again, repayment doesn't start until 6 months after graduation, or if you drop below 6 credits. So that's always the standard. Try to stay above 6 credits or 6 credits or above, and repayment won't start on those loans. The next type of loan is a Graduate Plus loan. It's not guaranteed, so it is based on a student's credit history and requires credit approval from the Department of Education. The interest rate is 6.41%. The interest does accrue on the loan while they're enrolled in school in 60 days after the first disbursement or the final disbursement. Repayment can start or it can be deferred until after you graduate. The next loan is a Parent Plus loan. That's only for undergraduate students if we have any in the room. It's a loan that's in your parent's name. Again, it is based on your parent's credit history, and it requires credit approval from the Department of Education. It can't be transferred over to the student later on, so it's always going to be in your parent's name. The interest rate is 6.41% in 60 days after the final disbursement, or it can be deferred until after the student has graduated. That's when that starts. The process is initiated through the financial aid office. And the last type of loan, which is not a federal loan, it's a private loan. Usually the student or the parent, they would go out to a lender, either your personal bank, credit union, or a lender such as Sallie Mae, Discover, Wells Fargo, and obtain a loan. The interest rate and repayment terms are specified by the lender. And again, the interest rate, those are usually variable. So the federal loans are always the better loan to take because they have a fixed interest rate. The private loans, the interest rate is variable, so it can go from, say, 4% to 11% overnight if it wanted to. And the process to obtain that loan is initiated usually by the student or the parent. And usually the student takes it out in their name, and the parent or someone else would need to be a co-signer for a private loan. Okay, so now that you have your loan, you have to understand your student loan obligation. You want to make sure that you know what you have to pay, so the amount that you owe and when to repay it. So again, that 6 months after graduation date, the lender will send you a letter in the mail and also an email. So you want to make sure that all your information is up to date. I think I'll talk about that a little later on, but you always want to know how much you owe and when you have to start repaying. Again, private loans usually have higher variable rates than the government loans. They usually have fixed rates. Student loans must be repaid. If you don't repay it, it will hurt your credit report. So right now, federal or student loans are the only loans that can't be wiped away based on, what's the word? Bankruptcy. So you want to make sure that if you have a student loan that you repay it. A poor credit report, it can make it difficult to get a loan for a house, a car, even to obtain a job. So if it's between you and someone else and they look at your credit report and yours is bad and someone else's is better, that job can go to someone else. So you want to make sure your credit is always up to date and that you're paying on time. There is a website in order to track your loan amounts and your payments. It's called the National Student Loan Data System, or NSLDS. In order to access that information, you would need to remember your FAFSA PIN number. So the 4-digit number that you sign in to sign your FAFSA, that's the PIN number that you'll use in order to log onto this to the website. The best way to keep track of your payments is to sign up for direct withdrawal from your banking account every month. So you don't have to worry about mailing a check or paying online each month. If it's automatically debited from your account, you'll have peace of mind. And this is what the website looks like. The top portion is what you would need to log in with, and then the bottom portion of the screen, that's what it will look like when you go to that website. And it'll list all the loans that you've taken out from undergraduate to graduate school, any loan that you have, any federal loan that you have. So private loans, they won't be listed here. Only federal loans will be listed here. Making payments during deferment or grace periods. So making payments on loans that charge interest during the deferment or grace period, or if the loaner is in forbearance, will reduce your total obligation. If you pay the interest as you go for the loans accruing interest, you will want to make payments to reduce the principal balance rather than the interest. If you want to make payments during grace period, the deferment or forbearance, you would need to call your lender or your loan servicer and set that up with them. So they won't come to you and say, oh, do you want to make payments? You would need to go to the lender in order to set that up. So loan capitalization. Federal loans and most private loans, they allow borrowers to defer making interest payments on the loan while the student is in school. If a borrower defers paying the interest on the loan, the interest capitalizes, which means that it is added to the principal of the loan. When this happens, the added cost of the interest will increase the amount of the loan's principal and thus the amount of the overall interest. And I have an example coming up. So say a student, they take out a $10,500 unsubsidized loan at 6.8%. That was the interest rate a couple years ago, I believe 2 years ago. If they pay $60 a month while they're in school for the 4 years, so this is for an undergraduate student, scenario for undergraduate students. So 4 years is 48 months. So if they pay $60 during those 4 years, instead of their total being, so this is how much in overall. Let's see. That's how much they would come out paying when the loan is paid off. If you wait to pay the interest until after the student graduates, this is how much the student will have to pay. So it's a difference about $1,088. So that if that's a big difference to you or a big amount to you, then if you can pay the interest while you're in school, we always recommend that. So $60 a month if you have a job, instead of going to the movies twice or out to dinner, you can make that payment. $60 a month isn't horribly bad. The next example is for a graduate student. So we're saying 24 months, 2 years. Actually, it works for this one. For a $20,500 loan they've taken out, if you pay $116 per month while you're in school, your total amount that you would pay after the loan is paid off is $31,000. If you wait until after you graduate, it could be up to $32,000. So it's a difference about, again, $1,000. So again, if you can make a payment while you're in school, it's always the best thing to do in order to not accrue so much interest on your loan while you're in school. So repayment options. There are three standard or three regular repayment options: the standard, the extended, and the graduated. The last three on the list, the income-based repayment, pay-as-you-earn repayment, and income contingent repayment, those are a little complicated. They usually require your tax returns. You would have to know how many people are in your household. They get into your information a lot more than the first three on the list. Okay, so the standard repayment is that you'll pay a fixed amount of money each month. So if you have whatever you have, it's going to be divided by 120 payments. So that's 10 years. So usually the loan repayment is for 10 years, so that's 120 payments. So whatever your amount that you come out of school with, they'll just cut that by, or they'll divide that amount by 120 payments. And that's how much you'll pay each month. This payment is the best if you want to repay the loan in the shortest amount of time and have the least amount of interest being accruing your loan, or paying for the interest a lot more. And as an example, if you have a $20,500 unsubsidized loan, again, the months in repayment is 120 because that's 10 years. Your monthly payment will be around $220. So for the let's see, $20,500. At the end will be, after you finish repaying, after 10 years, you would have paid $26,000 of that.
So if you're interested in making this space, so we have to call the financial institution and set up these payments, or?
Right. So when you graduate and once you are in repayment of the loan, the lender, they'll ask you what repayment plan you want to sign up for, and then that's where you'll select which repayment plan. You'll receive a letter in the mail, and also you would receive an email. So I think I'm going to mention it later on, but when you are notified about exit counseling, loan exit counseling, make sure you complete that information. So they ask for your phone number, your email address, and your home address. So if you're not going to be, I know summer is a transitional time, so or any time of the year is transitional for students. So if you're going to move, just make sure that your most up-to-date information is with the National Student Loan Data System and your lender, because that's how they contact you in order for you to start repayment. Right. Oh, well, you can change it between. So if you want to start off with the standard payment plan and then go to another one, you can do that. The next repayment plan is a graduated repayment plan. So the payments usually start out low and increase every 2 years. The length of the repayment plan is still 10 years. And it's based on that you expect to make more money as you go along. So when you get out of school, if you're only making $40,000 in 2 years, they expect you to make more as you get older and progress in your career. You will accrue more interest on this loan because the payments are lower to start with. So as you go along, as you start repaying, again, every 2 years, the amount will increase. And I have another example. So for years 1 to 2, the amount is $125. 3 to 4, year 3 and 4, the amount is $165. And then down to months 9 and 10, it can go up to $377. So again, they expect you to make money as you progress in your career. And at the end of the repayment, so a $20,500 loan, you'll have to pay $28,000 as compared to, let me go back to this one. This one was, again, the same amount, but the repayment in total was $26,000. This one is $28,000. So you see the difference. The last option is the extended repayment plan. This only applies to students who have more than $30,000 in federal loans. And it's not to exceed 25 years. So the standard and the graduated repayment plan is over 10 years. The extended repayment plan is over not to exceed 25 years. So it can go up to 25 years. And I have another example. Again, it's kind of graduated repayment plan. So you can start off making payments of $139. In year 25, you can make payments of $296. And if you have a $31,000 loan, the amount you pay after all said and done after 25 years is $61,000. So it's a lot. So when choosing your repayment plan, always think about what your goals are. If you want to pay it off in the quickest amount of time, just think about that when you're signing up for a repayment plan. Okay. And let me go back. Okay, and the last three I spoke about. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail with these, but it's based on your income, usually your adjusted gross income from your tax returns and how many people are in your household. And if we want, what time is it? Okay. I just want to show you what it looks like. And it will tell you if you qualify for for one of these payment plans based on your income. So this is the Federal Student Aid website, and you would just input your information. So if anyone wants to give me a loan amount You don't have to have it yourself, but if you want to do some.
14,500.
See. Okay, and the interest rate right now, let's do that. Let's add that in. And this is subsidized. I didn't want to do, since most of you guys are graduate students, let me delete that one and go to unsubsidized. Okay, so add that in. And are most people in here single? We can do that one, okay? And the income that you have.
I'll be adjuncting in the fall, so probably around 10,000.
Okay. Well, let's do 30, just to,
Okay. Just so I don't get depressed.
and let's do the state of Maryland. Okay, and then calculate results. And this is just a snapshot of what your payments could be. So the standard plan, again, just splits it in half by 120 payments. So it would be $157 that you would have to pay. If you're in a graduated plan, it can go from $89 all the way up to $268 based on the years. The pay as you earn is $104 and go up to $157. And the income-based repayment plans, those are usually lower. So usually if the income-based payment plans are lower than the standard plans, the income-based payment plans are always the best. So again, if you want to play around with the system or this website to see exactly how much you owe, maybe it will prevent you from taking out that extra $1,000 in your Graduate Plus loan or your unsubsidized loan in the future, yes. Studentaid.gov. I think the one up there says studentloans.gov, but studentaid.gov. And I have handouts that have all these websites listed on it. Okay. So again, all these income plans, you have to